December, and we're going to start our week out right with Designing with Deb here at artbeads.com/live. I'm Deb Floros. I'm here every Monday morning, and I'm so excited to be with you here today. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I'm checking in on you. How are you all doing? I mean, it's the holiday season. Sometimes that stresses people out a little bit. Things get a little crazy. So how's everybody doing? I want to hear from you. Who's watching? How you doing? How you hanging in? We're just going to have some fun this morning. I highly recommend this time of year, you just spend a little bit of time creating, because that, I think, soothes all of the holiday craziness. Keeps the crazy down a little bit, I think. Hi, Michelle. Michelle says it's foggy there. I'm sorry. That's kind of like a gloomy thing. Hopefully it will burn off. Hi, Kara. Welcome, welcome. So welcome in, everybody. As I said, it is December 9th. And we're kind of smack dab in one of the last days of the wish list sale at artbeads.com. You can get 20 to 30% off of best sellers. So I went and scoped out that sale, and yeah, tools, wire, findings, beads, of course. So yeah, I would check that out. It's on through the end of the day tomorrow, which is kind of unusual. Usually the sales end on Mondays. Hello, Santa Barbara girl. Hello, Kim. Hello, Joan from Phoenix. Hello, Winnie. Thank you for being here, you guys. So, yeah, so that sale is going on, and there's a special deal where you get a free gift going on. So the gift changes every day. So if you have something that you're shopping for, you hit that purchase, you'll get a little extra something in your package, which is always super fun. Like, who doesn't love a little surprise? So, if you're watching at artbeads.com/live, that is the best place to watch the show, because I can see your comments. I can see Laura Q is here, and Santa Barbara Elves. Kotesia, good morning. Thank you. My curls are so cute. They're kind of a little wild today. Thank you so much, though. I can see your comments, and you have the ability to share some love with the heart icon on the screen. And best thing ever, you can shop the show. So if you hit that little shopping bag, you can see everything that's in the show. And you can start just loading things into your shopping cart. And I have a ton of things in the show today. In fact, I almost broke the number of things you can put in the show. But I wanted to give you guys lots of options, because we have a fun project today. Oh, thanks for the hearts, you guys. We have a fun project today, and it opens up tons of possibilities. And we're going to use a bead that's really different. So if you go over to that shopping cart, you can do some shopping around, get more information on the products as we go along. Hi, Tina. So you can check everything out as we go, or you can check it out all at once. Totally up to you how you'd like to do it. If you're watching at Facebook or YouTube, we love that you watch wherever you watch, but come on over if we're live, because that's the best place to watch. And you can get here by code at the top of your Facebook feed and drop that into a comment. It'll bring you on over to artbeads.com. And if you're watching at YouTube, you can click on the link in the description of the video. So come on over here. Let's hang out. Let's do some fun stuff today. I'm feeling festive. So I'm doing everything I can to fight those crazies of the holiday season, and just have a great time making some things. So we're going to do that today. I'm going to flip my camera down, and we're going to get started. All right. So here's my mat today, and it's critical for me to get in the right position for today. Hello, Rosie from Buena Park. Thank you for being here. And thank you for all of you serious art beaders being part of the Bead Llama community. We appreciate that. So I'm going to be working with some beads that are called crescent beads. And if I can open up one of these packs, I'm going to show you what a crescent bead is. So these are crescent beads. They are a 2-hole crescent shaped Czech glass bead. Good morning, Kat from Aurora. They are checkmates, so they are intended to work with other checkmate beads. And they are super fun to work with. I had never worked with these until earlier this year, and I got really excited when I discovered what you can do with these. So these are so much fun, and because of the shape, they make an interesting beaded bead, which is what I want to show you today. And I'm going to need a sip of coffee because my throat is a little scratchy. So that's what we're working with. And I've got a bunch of these in the show, and I'm going to show you a bunch of samples. So I've got some beautiful colors here. I love the reds and the blues. I've got some holiday colors, but you can do these in any color. So this is an earring I did a project for a while back, and I showed them in one of our beaded bead shows a while back, and someone got excited and said we should do a class around that. So that's what we're doing today. And I made these in my favorite color, in this bright pink. And these are on head pins with a little earring back that's holding them onto my ear wire or onto my head pin. So really, really fun. We're going to make these today. Let me show you some of the possibilities for these so you can see the different ways you can make them and sizing and different beads you can use. So let's start with these. Laura Q says, oh boy, very excited. Hey, thanks. Winnie says, so pretty. Thanks, Winnie. So these are a beautiful crescent. Let me see what we call this color. I don't know what we're calling this color. I'm sure I have the package. Yes, I do. Oh, I still can't see what it is. It's a saturated blue. Oh, it's on the screen. Thank you, Michelle. So this is a nice like winter blue. And what I did here is I added in some demi rounds, and these demi rounds are great with these crescents. These are 11-0 demi rounds, and they're in nickel, and they look really, really cool with just about any of these beads. So anything that you can pair with like a silver, you know, anything that you would use silver for, you can use these nickel demi rounds. And I like demi rounds for this project because they create an interesting texture in between those crescents. So this is what they look like from the top down or the bottom. You know, they're a really fun little sphere. And I just love these. Super fun to make. Here, I've got one that's not so Christmassy. This one is really kind of a metallic, awesome bead. So these are, I forget what color these are too. I don't think I can tell you the color. The packaging only gives me part of the name, and I did not write it down this time. But these are actually demi rounds in size 8. So look at the difference between the 11s and the 8s. They add so much of a different look. So that's fun. I also did some really festive green ones, and I just used one 11-0 demi in between my crescents. And this is a really cool demi round bead. It's got a perma finish. This is matte galvanized aluminum. To me, it looks a little more creamy than it does aluminum, but super fun. And Heather, yes, orange for pumpkins would be perfect Good morning, PJ. Good morning, Deborah. So these are different. So another, variation. And then these, I absolutely love these. So this is a reddish, like a matte metallic red with 15-0 seed beads in between. And I did a couple of them in between each bead. Now you can also vary the number of crescents that you use in these beads. So you can I used somewhere, I usually either used 5 or 6 in all of these. And you can also use an 11-0 seed bead for these, which we're going to do in our project we're going to start in a second. So this is just a sampling of what you can do. You can pick any color and any crescent color, any crescent finish. They come in so many colors and finishes. And I thought that these just looked a little bit like Christmas, like little ornaments. And if you have one of those little, like small Christmas trees, like a little tabletop tree, these would make perfect little ornaments for your tree. So I just thought these were fun. I thought we could make up a few today, and I'll show you what you can do with them. Maggie, thank you so much. I think these are just delightful little things and a fun little project. I became obsessed with beaded beads this year. So this is what we're going to make. We're going to make this really Christmassy version, and we're going to use these really nice opaque red and some 11-0 seed beads that are in a really cool rainbow mint green. So they have kind of a rainbow finish on them, and they look so great. This kind of looks a little vintagey to me, but kind of a Christmas classic. So I'm going to show you how I make these. We're going to make a fourth to go along with our other 3 we've got. And I'm going to be using Fireline. So you can also use 1G, whatever your preference is for a beading thread, you can use that. And because beading thread and that comes in different colors, you can decide if you want to use a color or you just want to use the crystal. I'm using the crystal today, and there's that great set of Toho thread that's in the different colors. Thanks, Michelle, for putting that up. I love that. That's an awesome thing to pick up. I think it may still even be available in the deal of the day section, which, by the way, don't miss out on the deal of the day today because it is a really cool one and it is a screaming deal. So before I cut my thread from my my spool, I'm flattening out the end of my thread, and then I'm going to thread my needle. And I like to flatten it out. I think a lot of people use that trick because it helps with threading the needle. Now I'm going to cut off about 2 feet. You probably don't need 2 feet for this beaded bead, but this is what I like to do to make sure I don't run out, especially when I'm showing someone else how to do it. So I'm going to make an ugly knot at the end, and you have, like, if you want to try a different way to do this, totally up to you, but I'm going to make an ugly knot. And what I mean by that is I want it to be visible for us because I need to be able to see it, because I need to be able to see where I am in this project. And I need to be able to know where I started in the project. So I tie like 3 knots and I get this ugly knot. Oh my gosh, Michelle, that's the only knot you can do. Yes, I am a terrible knotter. It's something that's like my Achilles heel. I'm just a terrible knotter. So I'm going to get my thread nice and pulled onto the needle, and then I'm going to take out my beads, and hopefully I can get these guys open. So I'm going to put a few of these red guys on the mat, and then I'm going to open up my 11 O's, and I just love this color combination. This makes me feel festive right here. Look, that is festive on a bead mat. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to use 5 of our crescents, okay? And we're going to string on right onto our needle. So I like to start with a seed bead. You can either start or end with one, but you'll see what I mean in a minute, because you'll need to make sure that you have a seed bead between every crescent. Thanks for the hearts, you guys. Laura, little chili peppers. Yes, this could totally be a chili pepper bead if you're looking for that to be part of a design. Now, this is what I mean. You'll want a seed bead between each of your crescents. It's also important for you to put these all on going in the right direction. Let me show you what I mean by that too. So I'm going to put this on in the wrong direction. So we want all the beads to be going in the same direction. That will make that beautiful little sphere shape that we see in those beads. So let's make sure they're all, and also make sure you're putting them through the same hole. So in this case, I'm just kind of using them and stringing them through the top because they all need to be uniform and doing the same thing. Okay, so I've got 5 beads and I've got a seed bead that will go between each one of my beads. What I want to do now is I want to make sure that I create that loop. So this is the hardest part because these beads want to do their own thing because they can move around and shift around. So you just have to use a little bit of like authority with these. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to move this out of the way a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my needle through and I'm going to come down to my ugly knot. So there's my ugly knot coming up and I'm holding on to those beads and then I'm going to pull my knot away a little bit. Now what I'm going to do, this is telling me I'm at the end. So I'm at one end here with my needle and I'm at the other end here with the ugly knot. I'm going to go back through all of these beads. Now this can be tricky because you can easily miss one. So that's why I do this by putting it all through the needle and keeping them on the needle. So I know they're all there. I can see they're all in place. And what I'm going to do then is pull my needle and I'm going to slowly bring this together like so. And now they are in their shape. And I'm trying to get, this is always what I struggle with is that little tail. All right, so now they're in place. Let's see, I didn't see that earlier comment. If you use one hole and did red and green on wire, it could become a wreath. Santa Barbara girl, I would love to see you try that and show us. That would be awesome. I think that would be great. So I've got my shape. Now what I want to do is I want to reinforce this top portion. Please do, my friend Santa Barbara girl. We'd love to see it. Okay, so this is the shape. We're going to start going through, and I like to go through another like 3 times. So I like to go through as many beads as I can get through at a time. And you should always make sure you have a good look at the direction that you're going from. Now look at me holding on to this little cluster of beads, because those crescents can still move because we are not secure at the bottom. Another thing to watch for is if you put this down, check where your thread is coming from. So I can see it's coming from that hole. So I'm going in this direction. And I'm going to put that through another 2 or 3 beads. And I'm going to be careful. You're probably going to pick up that tail. If you're like me, you're going to pick it up a few times. So I'm coming out of that bead. Now I'm at the ugly knot again. So I know I've gone around once, and then I'm going to go through and just go through. You'll probably get through 2 or 3 beads at a time. But you can go through one at a time. It doesn't matter. This is not a race. So you can go through as many as you can and as you feel comfortable with. And just be aware that you could skip a bead. So you'll just want to check before you pull that thread tight as you go. So I'm going through that guy, and I'm just kind of pulling my thread tight each time. And I'm checking to see where I am. And I've got my tail all like connected in here. Let's see if I can get that guy out of there. And I keep my beading all handy, because sometimes that's what happens. You get your tail kind of wonky, and the tail wants to be part of the party. Hi, Eric. Thanks for being here. Okay, so we're going to go through again. We're back at our ugly knot again. And I'm going to go around one more time. And it's funny, you will feel this bead kind of come together. You'll feel it when that reinforcement is good. So you'll feel that it's nice and ready to go. See, it's already tightening up here, so I feel good about that. And then we'll get the bottom portion done. So just checking to make sure I'm in the right spot and pulling that tight. I'm going to get my tail out of the way because that tail wants to be part of the party. And then I'm going to come up to the spot where I have my ugly knot. So there's my knot. And I'm going to come in here and pull that tight. So I'm going to hold on to the bottom of those beads, and I feel good. This still looks a little bit wonky, but trust me, it's going to be good. Anteater Diane says, there's trouble. Eric's arrival. Okay, so we now need to add beads to the lower section of our beaded bead. And this is where you have to be okay with a little bit of thread showing. So I don't get really worked up about that, because most of the time with jewelry, people aren't going to see it really, really up close. So don't worry too much about thread showing, but this is what we're going to do. I'm at the ugly knot, and I'm going to go down from that ugly knot into the lower hole of that crescent. And it's going to create a little bridge for us. And we're going to be going kind of back in the opposite direction. So there's my little bridge next to my ugly knot. And now we're going to add beads to this section. But this time, all we're doing is adding our 11-0. So we're just taking one onto our needle, and then I'm going to put that through the next bead. And it still kind of looks a little wonky, but that's what we're going to do all the way around. So we're going to grab another 11-0, and we're going to go through our next crescent and Now we've got 2. And if you have to put it down, as I said, you can always check where you are. So grab your thread and kind of see where it's coming from, and then you know what direction you need to go. So if you run to let the dog out, or you know, go grab a cup of coffee, you can come back and see where you are. So almost done adding our beads. So just putting that bead on. This is so easy. If you think you can't work with thread and seed beads and 2-hole beads, well, let me tell you, friends, you can. So if I can, you can. All right, now I've got a little nonsense happening here. So before I get too far here, so let me grab my tail, get that out of the way. And what I did is I sometimes do this, is I get through like a loop. So I'm going to get my needle out of that loop. You probably can't tell. Ooh, I think I made it worse. All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to pull that off. And I'm going to pull that out. Sometimes you'll need to do that, and it's okay. I find myself sometimes really in the groove and I don't do that, but sometimes I do. So, all right, so I've got my thread flattened out again. I'm gonna put that through my needle, and I'm gonna pull that down nice and tight. And let me get my tail out of the way. I just have to put on one more stinking bead. So let me grab that 11-0, and then I'm going to we're just going to keep going around. So we're going to have all our beads on, and then we're going to tighten this up just like we did with the top. We're going to go around like 3 times and get this nice and secure. And you can go through as many as you can, as you feel comfortable with. You could go through 1 at a time if you'd like. I find that 2 or 3 at a time is the best. And guys, if you look at the cart or look at the shopping bag, you can see all of the wonderful color and texture and finish possibilities that are available in these crescent beads. There's so many. If you don't want to make a little, Christmassy look, there are so many other options. So many other options. So, all right. So I'm checking where I'm at, and I can see I'm coming out of that seed bead. I'm going to get my little tail out of the way. I can see I'm coming out of there. And I'm going to just go into the next 2 beads and the next 2 beads. And you'll feel this come together. Like I said, it just all of a sudden you'll feel it. It will just feel secure, nice and, nice and tight. It will be just coming together probably around, the second pass of your thread. So I'm going to go through, and I'm going to come around now to my next, I'm going to come around to where I've got my thread bridge. So I've still got a little ways to go to get to my thread bridge. So I need to go through this bead and that bead, and you can see I'm ending up, there's my little bridge and there's my ugly knot. So I'm going to pull that through there, and then this is where I'm going to stop. Now, before I take my needle off, I'm going to actually just kind of put it into my mat. I'm going to tie a knot here. So this is going to be visible. If you don't like that, maybe this is, you can find a different way to do this. But I like to tie a knot once, and then I'm going to tie another knot, and just being aware of my needle on my mat there. And I've got I've got my knots there. So, you know, it's an ugly knot. It's okay. And look at how our bead has come together. Really cool, really fun little bead. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and reinforce just a little bit more with my needle. So I can see my thread is coming out there. I'm going to go and push it through this crescent. I'm just going to go through a few beads. You don't have to go through very many. You can go through just a few. And you can go through as many as you can get through. I'm just going through a couple at a time. So like that. And it's okay if you're not in the same spot when you decide to stop that reinforcing. And you can do the same thing at this end if you have enough of a tail. I think I do. So I'm going to pull my needle off. And I'm going to get my thread prepped on this side. Can't you use a different color thread to make it less obvious? If you can find a color that matches your beads, yes. So there are some different color options of thread out there. And if you're using 1G, they have a lovely, lovely colors that you can match up to some of their beads. So here we go. Let's see if I can get this end threaded. There we go. Okay, so I don't have a lot to work with here, but I'm going to go back through a few beads to do that last bit of reinforcing, and I'm about to lose that off of my needle. Let's see if I can get that guy. There we go. I'm going to go through just maybe two more. I think I can get it through two more like that. Okay. So now I feel like I've got good reinforcement here. So everything feels nice and secure to me. And now all I need to do is cut off my thread. And if you do not have a swanky thread burner, this is a really cool tool to have. This is great for cutting off your thread in a very easy way. So I'm going to hold on to my thread and hold on to my bead and burn that thread right off. So it's like burning it to cut it. And I'm going to take my second one, and you might see a little bit of smoke. And now I've got my excess threads off of the piece, setting that aside up here. And now I have my beaded bead. Look at that, so cute. So this is just fun, you guys. Let's see what, could you use some beads at the top for a loop or add an ornament hook? Yes, so I'm going to show you one thing that I like to do to make these into an earring, but there's so many possibilities. We'll talk about those too. So I'm going to grab a head pin. Actually, I'm going to grab a ball end head pin. And I think we're going to do a couple of earrings here. And when you have a very small hole like this, so we've used 5 of the crescents and we've used 11 seed beads. We've got a nice small hole on this one. But if you're doing unique or different beads, I've got 6 crescents and 2 15-0s. We've got a larger hole to work with. So as you can imagine, that will probably dictate how you will make your design. So here, I can just string this right onto a head pin. And you have some choices. You can put a bead here. So I did not put these beads in the show because I was already blowing up the number of things you can have in your show. But here's a nice little disc bead. You could take a seed bead and drop it on. In fact, let's do that because those are in the show. So I've got a little seed bead. I'm going to string on in between. So matching our seed beads that we already have on. And then I'm going to come up and grab another one of these. And then maybe you want to grab, and they do want to kind of move in between, your head pin will want to move in between your crescents, but we're going to muscle that a little bit. So that is, oh, that guy wants to come out. So let me try that again. Get that in there. And it wants to go off to the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a seed bead first. And then we're going to put our head pin on like that. And then a seed bead. And then another one of our beaded beads like that. So it does want to move around. But what I'm going to do is try and get my wire wrapping done in such a way that it will keep it in place. So that's a little wonky. But I'm going to try to get that right when I put this together here. So yeah, that's not really working great, but let's see. Let's try. I'm going to push that down a little bit, get that right onto the head pin, and I'm going to come down and do my wrap, pull that up, and do my wraps around here like so. And that is just not cooperating with me. Let me see if I can get it pushed over. There we go. Almost have it. Well, it's not perfect, but I've got another way to do this. So you can mess around with that. You can try and play with getting that together. But when I made these, I'll show you what I did with this. So this one I had, let's see, there are 3, 4, 5, 6 of the crescents, and I used 2 11-0s in between. So it's got a much wider space at the bottom, probably more like this one, although this is 5 and 2 demis. Let's see, this one, that one is a little bit smaller. So this is cool. This is what I did for our beads with larger holes, is I took an earring back. Now I put some of these in the show. I'll tell you about what I picked in just a minute. So I put the flat end. This one is kind of shaped. This one's like not great, but put the little cone part up top. And then I take the bead and I press it down onto the earring back. So that then holds it on and actually holds it better in place. And then you can actually take a second one. Let me get that guy on here, and I press that one into the top. And actually that one does not work like that. So let's try this. Then I'm going to take this, put it flat end down again, and then press that bead on top of that one. So those clear plastic or, silicone little earring backs are really a way that they're not going to show. I mean, they'll just look like a little void space or almost like a clear bead. And then you can do your wire wrapping up top, which I'm gonna try and get that to look a little better. So that's holding these in place a little bit better. If you want to do your earring this way, you can add beads to this. So that's another design choice that you have, is you can add beads. So that is what those two will look like with your earring backs on them. I like that. That's what I did with the first one, and I've worn them and not had a problem with, with them moving around too much or coming off or anything like that. So you can do them this way if you've got the right sort of configuration of the beads. Thank you, Santa Barbara girl. So the earring back can be an option, but let me tell you about the ones that are in the show. So I put 2 different ones in. These by Beadsmith are just kind of a little cylinder, like a ribbed cylinder shape. These can work, so I'll show you what I mean here. I'm going to grab a flat end head pin. So you can do this as a spacer in between your beads. So let me grab these little green ones. Oh, I love these green ones. So this can be an earring right here or an ornament. So you can make this into a little hook and you can hang this onto one of your little mini Christmas trees. Or you can make it into jewelry, and that can just be your earring if you just like a little something. So that can be a spacer up top if you want to add some separation, and you can do something like this, but this can be a bead as well. This one does not really do that great of a job of holding the bead because it's just cylindrical. It doesn't really have the same functionality as the ones that have like a little end on them, like a cylinder with an end. So like here, it just goes right through. So I put them in, but I tried them out after I put them in and thought, well, I don't think those work as nicely. I also put some other ones in the show, and I'm looking for them here on my table. They are the right shape, but they're large. And of course, I can't find them on my table now. But they are a larger one. So they're a larger version of these that I used here. And you can probably use them best with a larger hole. So if you've got one of these larger hole beaded beads, then you could do that. And yes, Santa Barbara girl, you can use bead caps. You can also put beads in these. So if you want to string on a bead, like a 6mm bead in this case, maybe for these, it's just a seed bead or a small spacer bead. I'm actually going to use, for that one, let's do one of the demi rounds or a few of the demi rounds. Let's see what that looks like. You can do little spacers with your demi rounds to add a little separation between these. I think this will work because we've got a small hole on these. So look at that. That's fun. That is cute. So the power of demi rounds too. So we've got a lot of demi rounds in the show too, which I think are fabulous. So this makes a really cute little earring or ornament, something fun. And if you want to use these for other things, you can use these on bracelets or necklaces. So I've made bracelets where I've used other beads, and then these were kind of like my focal beads on the bracelet. So you could do that. And I think someone suggested earlier that you add maybe like a jump ring. You could connect some of these with jump rings. If you wanted to do that, you could do that. And one of my favorite things to do with beaded beads is actually put them on a ball chain. So that's kind of hokey, but I did a show earlier in the year where I made some different beaded beads with, I think I used super duos, and I just put them on a chain, and they just look fun and festive, and they're just like really pretty beads on a chain. So fun, fun, fun. And I did not put ball chain in the show, but I believe Art Beads does have some ball chain in stock. So that's another way that you can do this. I'm actually going to just finish up this one earring that I like, because this one, to me, not my favorite, but it looks okay. I'm going to grab my ear wire. I've got a really pretty ear wire. This is a French ear wire, sterling silver. It's 20 gauge, and it's such a pretty little ear wire. So you open it up from the back here, twist it, and then I'm going to do a little wire wrap loop up top here, giving myself a little bit of space so that bead can move around a bit. I don't want it to move around too much because I don't want that head pin to get out of control on me and do its own thing. But I want to have some movement there. And then I'm going to snip off my excess, and then let's tighten up that little end of the wire, flatten that out, and then I'm gonna put this on here. Come on, let's go on here. All right, and close that up, and we have a fun beaded bead earring, a crescent beaded bead earring. What is that tool? I don't know what tool you're asking about, Tara. I was using some flat nose pliers. I've got some round nose pliers. I did use the thread burner for this project, and I also used a beading awl today. So this is just fun, you guys. I thought these were festive. I'm sure you have 100 ideas of how you can use these. My objective was to show you the beaded beads and give you at least one idea for a finished project. And I really love this little earring. This I'm going to make, I need to make 2 more green ones because I made 4 blue. I made 4 of these pretties, and I made 4 of these, but I only made 2 of these greenies. So I'm gonna have to make 2 more of these. And I suggest if you guys wanna try this, oh, the flat nose is really sturdy, Tara. This is one of my favorites. I use this for a lot of projects. This works, and this is what I use to flatten out my thread to do my threading of my needle. So that is a very helpful tool for that, and also helpful for a lot of wire working. Thank you guys. Thanks, Laura. So if you're going to give this a try, pick up some different kinds, some different colors of our crescent beads. You don't have to go like super holiday. Here's some really fun neutrals. You could actually mix them. So you could take a red and a green together and put some nickel in between them like that. Oh gosh, I hope you guys will try this. Or gold. Ooh, these are gold demi rounds. They are so great. So you've got so many options, endless options. So let me flip these back and flip my camera up here. And yeah, there are so many options. This is what one of the earrings would look like. So our little greeny earring that we made, so cute. I really love this little guy. I'm gonna make the other one today. That's cute. So you can't tell that, it's got a little earring thing, a little earring back on it. You can't tell that. And you can't see my messy wrap on top of it either. So, oh gosh, Santa Barbara Girl says, thank you, Deb. You've got my head spinning with new ideas. Great help, Michelle and Eric. Thank you, Michelle and Eric, for the help today. And gosh, I hope you guys will give this project a try. It's just really fun. And you can make some really festive pieces or make some beaded beads that you can use throughout the year. Put your, sit by the fireplace, do some beading, have some fun, and don't forget to check out, so close out your carts. And the deal of the day today is a 6mm Czech fire polish bead in a metallic gold topaz. It is phenomenal. I could not believe the price on that bead. So I'm hoping there's some left when I get done with the show today, because I need to grab some of those. They're really, really cool beads. So go check out the deal of the day. If you go to artbeads.com, there's actually a banner across the middle of the screen. There are some fun things there that are still deal of the day priced. So I hope that you guys will check those out. And please make sure you check in on all of the other design team members this week. Andrea's up tomorrow. Julie will be here on Wednesday, and the rest of the ladies will be here through Friday. I'll be back next Monday. We're going to do something fun next Monday as well. I hope you all have a really fun week. Go make something. Don't get stressed out over the holidays. Make yourself some beaded beads, and I'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye.